What is surprisingly illegal? In Connecticut, a pickle cannot be considered a pickle, nor sold as one, unless it bounces when dropped from the height of 1 foot in the air. This state regulation was the result of devious pickle packers selling substandard pickles that obviously did not bounce. Those persnickety penny pinching pickle packers purveying their sub-pickled products, paying expired parking meters that aren't your spot. How dare you be a kind and generous citizen? It is illegal to parachute inside St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican after a person did it. They had to create that law specifically for him. He walked away no charge, as the law did not exist. BRB, going to set up a bungee jumping rope in St. Peter's Basilica. In China, it's illegal to reincarnate without the government's permission. Him going to do it anyways. In my country, not having at least one bidet installed per home. Where I live, you can't pay for a house with a loan, unless the house has at least one bathtub. No, showers don't count. It's not actually a law, but home loans are so stupidly strict. Sleeping in your car. That is such a fucking sadistic law. The only people it targets are people who have no other choice. In the landlocked state of Nebraska, it is illegal to go whaling. We had a politician, union leader suddenly promoted, because an elected official died, and this was the only non-controversial candidate, who visited a port for the first time, learned that it generated huge revenues, and then instantly promised that he would create a port in his home state, which is landlocked and arid. When his secretary, bureaucrats, told him you need ocean access, he proposed digging a canal from the sea, 150 kilometers inland. It's illegal to own more than 6 sex toys in Texas. 5 is okay I guess, but you're on thin ice. Was there anyone ever arrested for having more than 6 toys? I just imagine the scene. I have a surprisingly legal one. In the UK it is completely legal to own cannabis seeds. However, put them in some dirt, and you are now a criminal. Leads to some amusing situations like shops selling seeds, grow lights/tents, nutrients, and soil, but with the disclaimer, for novelty purposes only. I even saw one that had a complete paragraph explaining the growing procedure for cannabis prefixed with the word don't. Similarly, magic mushroom spores are also completely legal to own, as long as you don't cultivate them. In several states, it's illegal to fish from horseback. Just Google stupid fishing laws. There are lots of them. I have fished from horseback and now I'm curious. Just checked. Yes, I've done it one of those states. Seems the thinking was that poachers would do it and have a quick jet away when the warden showed up. Actually makes some sense. In the most southern island of the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, it's illegal to curse publicly. Well fuck. I ask this because I read today that credit card fees are illegal in many states, including mine, but that does not stop many gas stations around me. They get around it by the credit card price being the full price and the cash price is a discount, and therefore it's not an extra credit card fee. It's a distinction without a difference. Alarming the Queen. Section 49 of the Criminal Code of Canada. Sentence of up to 14 years in prison. I think my favorite ridiculous Canadian law, until 2018, when the law was removed, was that it was illegal to fraudulently practice witchcraft. I don't recall the section and whatnot, but it was phrased in such a way that it insinuated real witchcraft was okay, just as long as you weren't pretending. If in Western Australia, possessing more than 50 kilograms of potatoes. Yep, you read that correctly. Potatoes. Repealed in 2021, but yes, it was an amusingly long-lasting law which genuinely prohibited carrying more than 50 kilograms of potatoes, unless you were part of the Potato Corporation. The legislation even allowed for your vehicle to be stopped and searched for potatoes. 50 kilograms exactly was fine, but if someone snuck an extra potato in, and you exceeded 50 kilograms, God help you. You can't put a donkey in a bathtub in my state. But, why? Throughout Alabama, it's illegal for a person to walk down the street with an ice cream cone in their back pocket. Back when most people got around on horseback, horse thieves would put ice cream in their pocket to lure horses away without being charged with stealing. There was an old scam where you and an accomplice would go to a grocery store and tell the shopkeeper that you were trying to resolve a bet about how much molasses would fit in your friend's hat. You would agree to pay for the molasses and ask the grocer to fill up the hat. Once it was full, I'd quickly pull it down over the shopkeeper's head and loot the store while he was blinded. That was apparently a real teen go vertical bar, so I guess I can believe the ice cream trick. As a non-American going to the US for the first time, I find it weird you can't be visibly drunk in public without being questioned by an officer. Like, how'd you all get home after a wee hours? It more so means you cannot be causing a disturbance. But what a disturbance means is intentionally vague and left up to each officer. In Germany it's legal to break out of prison, but not in your prison uniform, because that would be stealing. In Netherlands you are all law to break out of prison. For example, when you break out in the middle of a 10-year imprisonment, without breaking any additional laws like hurting someone or threatening someone. When they catch you again, and you are not convicted for additional crimes, you just have to sit out the remainder of what you owe to the starter. Leaving prison early is not a punishable crime on itself. Suicide. Because you can't destroy government property. Children selling lemonade without a license. A kid in my neighborhood just made $200 selling lemonade. If I reported him, would he get a fine? Asking for a friend. Also, I am being 100% sarcastic. It's illegal to masturbate a butterfly in Missouri. Do what you want with that information. The fascinating thing isn't the laws themselves, but how those laws came about. In New York, it is illegal to run a race barefoot and you need permit to be homeless. Who issues the homeless permit? Selling cars directly to consumers. The government, working for the people as always, made it illegal to not use a car dealership. A few car companies, including Ford, are talking about abolishing dealers and selling direct to the customer. Tesla already does this. Police are not required by law to help you. This has been upheld by the Supreme Court. In one particular case, the mother of two daughters who had a restraining order on their father called 911 to report that he had abducted them. The police did nothing, and the father killed the two little girls. The mother sued the police, and her case was thrown out, because police literally don't have to do anything to help you. It is illegal to say I want to kill the president. It is okay, though, because I am saying in an educational context, so it is completely fine for me to say I want to kill the president of the United States. But that is just because I am telling you not to say it, whereas if I were not saying it in a completely educational context, it would be illegal to say something like I want to kill the president of the United States of America. With a pipe bomb. Oral sex is technically illegal in South Carolina, although I don't know if it's actually enforced. What if you suck yourself off? I could do that when I was younger. Not fun but possible. I did what everyone dreamed of, but could never achieve. The tale said that it felt more like sucking a pecker than getting your pecker sucked. They were wrong. It feels like you're stuck in a dryer. Not fun, but a legal thrill for those bold enough. In England, section 32 says you cannot hold a salmon in suspicious circumstances. Is that fucking fish Jenga? In Los Angeles, California, it is illegal to wear a zoot suit under the claim that they are un patriartico. I wonder if this law was related to the zoot suit riots. In the US it's illegal to laminate your social security card. A vertical bar. Oops. Vertical bar. A woman in Saudi Arabia just got sentenced to 34 years prison because of a mild tweet statement about current political situation in her country. So, political opinion is hugely illegal there. Is that remotely surprising? In Tasmania, AU, if I get raped and murdered in a park, it would be illegal for anyone to hold a candlelight vigil/memorial for me at said park. They trying to get this law in Victoria after thousands of women marched for Jamaica. Lots of strange archaic laws with unintended consequences. Also in Tasmania, until 2020, victims of sexual abuse were forbidden from publicizing their story under their own name, but their abusers could, provided they didn't publish their victims' names. Grace Tame had to get a Supreme Court exemption, while her abuser was publishing what he wanted, lamenting about how he lost his job in radio interviews, and talking about how awesome his abuse was on social media. Bringing someone who is standing in line to vote a bottle of water. I believe that this one is currently being challenged. Kinda surprise eggs. You can own any fungus spores and you can grow some into mushrooms, but if you grow a certain kind of spore into a certain kind of mushroom, then you're breaking the law. There's a similar situation with plant seeds. In my small hometown, spitting on the ground was originally used when men chewed tobacco and the spit would stain the sidewalks, not enforced anymore. Most laws against spitting in public were enacted to curb the spread of tuberculosis, not because of tobacco. Dragging a dead horse up Yonge Street on a Sunday, Toronto. Well, now I have to rearrange my whole calendar.